Good morning. It is Friday morning. We put the web link if you'd like to follow along about the Gangsta Grannies. Uh, it's Friday morning. I'm getting up. I was out later than my usual lateness. Jazz and tapas and art called last night, and I answered the call. Um, Gangsta Grannies Global. I'm putting links in the chat. Global Underground Railroad.com. And Gangsta Grannies. It's been an initiative this year. Ooh, my hair's going all different directions. I had it pinned up last night, and my camera's opposite. So there it is. Um, yeah, Heal Together. Heal Together initiative. This is coming to the end of the second season of the Heal Together initiative. And it means just that. It's easier if we heal together. You're still responsible for your own healing, but when we do it together, it makes it easier. Um, it's that sharing of life together. Um, the first year was focused on women healing together, but really talking about freedom and recognizing that if you don't have the practical skills for freedom, um, you're still at a deficit. And the first season, we paired the Healing Vacation Retreat, which is the 1 week retreat, introduces you to the healing tools, works with you, does some coaching in that week to teach you how to use those tools and to walk you through doing the work of healing, using the tools. But then the second week was the Village Builders um, retreat, and it's a hands-on survival training. Can you build a village in the midst of crisis? Do you know the basics? Do you have plans for yourself for heat, cold, injury, illness, thirst, and hunger? Can you purify water? If you can't do that, your freedom is really limited in crisis, especially. If you don't know how to purify water, your very life depends on somebody else in about 7 days. And so part of freedom is about the tools for freedom, equipping yourself with the tools for freedom, and doing that first before you set off into whatever new paradigm is happening. My breakfast is still too hot to eat. One of those things you realize after you put it in your mouth. So that was the first season, Village Builders Retreat. It's still an offering that's available. People want to come and do the Village Builder Retreat. It's a 2 week retreat. The first week has some comfort and some excursions, and the second week we work. The first week we work. We do the spiritual healing part, but the second week of that Village Builder was hands-on survival training, literally how to build a village, purify water, cook, make fire, some strategies for doing that, housing, shelter, a little bit about hidden in plain sight, food and medicine, just setting you on a course, but giving you hands-on tools so that you can survive, because freedom without those tools is short-lived in crisis. And then the second year of the Heal Together programming here at the International Welcome Center, we focused on older women. If you're going to build community, if you're going to change community, older women, they've lived some life, they've got some wisdom. And if those women began to heal together, we began to build a strong foundation that's also loving and nurturing. The feminine energy that's healing becomes a much more stable and nurturing base for community. And so this season, started last fall, this time, about September, we offered the opportunity for 5 women to participate in the month-long healing intensive sabbatical here. And they were able to participate on a full work exchange. And so they come in exchange for their work, partly which is doing the work of healing. They're participating in this month-long healing sabbatical. And The last of our Gangsta Grannies are finishing that up. We are in the final week of this process. We have arrived at step 4, and we'll be here for a few days as they finish this part of the healing process using the social tech tools. And it's been work. It's been work, but it's been work that is rewarding in the end, because greater clarity, that's been one of the words swirling the past couple of days. Greater awareness for ourselves, greater awareness for our trauma, greater awareness for the far-reaching effects of the trauma that we've experienced in our lives. Clarity. Lightness. Lifting some of these burdens that we've been carrying. Lightness. Where life doesn't take as much energy when you're doing it more authentically. Lightness because you're processing through and healing from some of the areas that have caused you pain and that may continue to cause you pain in the process. This part of the process has really been about categorizing their responses to past experiences, categorizing the responses that they use to survive the situations, coping mechanisms, survival responses. What did you do when that thing happened that triggered those emotions? And they're grouping them. Maybe there were several instances where they cried. Maybe there were several instances where they got silent, or they ran away, or they left the situation. And once we identify those, step 4 of the process does some further work with our responses. Step 3 really asks them to sit in the mirror. No judgment. What'd you do to survive these things? Facts. Honesty. Looking in the mirror. And that was heavy. I did these things over and over and over and over. I began to see the patterns over and over and over, what I did to survive. I didn't use my voice. I remained silent when I knew that it didn't feel good to me. You guys are joining me for breakfast this morning. Breakfast number 1 this morning because I'm hungry. As we move past that, because they were asked to sit with that. If you're following along, Rita Patton's post the day before yesterday, I'm tired. I don't know. I'm just tired. Like in the bed, tired. I got to go get in the bed. I can't. I want to get up. I can't. I'm tired. And we talked about that energy. For some of us, not doing anything means you're lazy. The work that's not producing something tangible sometimes has not been seen as worthy. I need to be still. And that is doing something. But there's also these stories, guilt sometimes tied to that, because we've been accustomed sometimes to being productive. Got to have something to show for it. Got to have something to show for the time. And rest is oftentimes one of those things that there's nothing to show for on the outside. And that's honoring the healing journey. No, these emotions are heavy. These emotions take me a lot of energy, one, to dig up, but then to sit with them. We've been trying in life to avoid sitting with the feelings. That's why we choose some of the behaviors we choose. I don't want to feel what I feel. I don't want to feel this thing that even starts to raise its head in my life. Oops. Shove it down. Ignore it. Dismiss it. Shove it away. Pack it away. Put it in the bags. But sitting with those emotions takes lots of energy, and we don't calculate that sometimes. And sometimes that is what drains you. I'm exhausted. And it hasn't been physical work. It's been the emotional work. Nonetheless, I'm exhausted. Yep, takes energy. And so once they did that, we moved on to step 4. And this is a process that's not linear. They may have waves of grief. They may have waves of some of the other emotions, anger, frustration, disappointment, sadness. But they also may have waves of the other emotions, things like clarity. I feel clear about who I am. I feel empowered because I begin to see my behaviors line up with my values. I spoke up in this situation. One of the ladies shared that in reflecting on that, she realized how many times she had not lined up with her values. She had become small. She had not spoken up. She had dismissed herself and her feelings. But she says, it was a smaller section, but I saw the times when I did. I spoke up for myself. I stood up for what I believed in. I said the things that I meant. And so this isn't just about seeing the things that we did that sometimes can create additional trauma in our life, but it's about seeing where we honored our values, our truth. And that's part of the process too. And so in step 4B, they're working through their responses. They're looking at the values associated with their responses. What's your value about crying? What's your value about running away or doing what you had to do to survive a dangerous situation? Putting words to that. Being able to express what were the expectations for your own behavior? Because we're just turning the mirror to ourselves in step 4. And then, like step 2, after we've shined that mirror on our values, it's saying, what did it cost me? What are the losses? Sometimes we think there's only losses when things conflict with our values, but that really isn't the truth. And the ladies are finding that out. There's a cost when I choose my values. One of the immediate costs that's coming up, discomfort. This thing lines up with my values, but it's uncomfortable to do it. Ask for what I need. Tell somebody I got a problem and I need help. And that doesn't align with your values. Don't you want to be supported? Yes, but do you want to be supported or not? How do people know that you need or want support if you don't say something? Oh, but it makes me feel uncomfortable to ask for help. Well, it's not a habit yet. It's not something you practice. It's cost. Your comfort's going to be a cost. It's going to feel uncomfortable at first. But if you want to be supported, wouldn't that be the action that lines up? Sure it is, logically. But when our fear, and sometimes it's not fear of the situation, it's fear of disappointment, shows up, I'm not going to ask. I already know what they're going to do. I already know they're going to let me down. I already know they won't support me. I don't feel worthy of the support, so why should I ask for it? Or any number of tapes that plays on in our minds. And so that process of sitting with the loss is important. What did this cost me? What did these choices I made cost me? In some cases, it was a reward. I survived. In all of the cases, there's a reward. I survived. Did it create damage along the way? Probably. But I survived, and here I am healing. Is it good? Is it bad? It just is. Life has already happened. We have a choice over the life that hasn't happened, but the life that has already happened, it is what it is. This process says we just start from there. We can't undo it. You can wish they had done differently, but you can't undo what they did in that moment, in that time. And if what you did created damage, all we can do is heal from it. Get some wisdom out of it so that experience isn't just pain and wasted energy. And so the ladies are counting the cost. Step 4B, what did it cost me? And so they've been sitting with that. They've been sitting with that. They've been sitting with that. They've been reflecting on that. We'll continue that for the next few days until we're done with that section before going into 5. A. Um, and then we played. We refueled some tanks. One of the farm to table restaurants that's one of my favorite places, La Guarida, the lair, the fox lair, like. And they had jazz and tapas. And I didn't realize that there was also an art exhibit opening up at the old La Guarida. Philip is an expat artist and photographer. Beautiful photos. I'll probably share some of it on my Facebook and Instagram, some of the photos of his work and a little bit about him. And then Esteban is one of the musicians that I enjoy most that I've experienced so far here. He's a jazz guitarist. There's usually an ensemble with him. Last night was no different. There was a bass guitarist, a saxophonist, and a drummer. And I thoroughly enjoyed that. Live music is one of the things that's very common here. Good live music. And by good, I mean kind of music that I like to listen to. There's other music around town, but there's enough jazz and blues that it keeps me entertained and thrilled just to know it's around. Whether I get up and go out to it or not, that's usually my dilemma. Ooh, that's so nice. It's happening. Are you going to put clothes on and go? Probably not. What time is it at? Probably not. But we could go to dinner on the early shift. We went in for the 5 o'clock. They opened about 5. Music started about 7. And we went in, had delightful tapas. My favorite of the evening, there was a tuna croquet. And I didn't know if I'd like it. I just got one of everything. Give me one of everything. And I'll decide what I like at the end. But I think that was my favorite of the night, the tuna croquet. There were some tempura vegetables that I liked, crunchy, and there was a sauce on it that I liked a whole lot. But there was another sampling of goodies that I enjoyed. Danielle went with me. One of the Gangsta Grannies went with me. No, she didn't go with me. I went with her. She instigated this. She's on their list. We had gone there for another event a couple of weeks ago, earlier in their visit. And she wanted to have another opportunity. And this came up that appealed to both of us. And I said, I'll go. I'll take that one. And so we were able to go and eat and make new friends. My new friend Liz and I are going to connect after the ladies leave. Before she leaves town, some of the new expats that are here that I haven't met. I don't know them all. There's about 10,000 of us here, but I tend to find the ones that like to do the things I like to do because I'm there with them. I saw some old friends, friends that I know from around town, and it's just a feel-good kind of evening that for me fills my soul. As we walked towards the art showing that's at the old La Guarida, which is just half a block up the street from the new location. Danielle and I were laughing because one of the taxi drivers that brought them to the house their very first day when they got off the shuttle bus coming from Guayaquil, his name is George. And the last time we were there, we were out in the streets. And who do we walk up on but George? No, George walks up on us. He recognizes us. He hollers out in the street to us. And he ended up being our driver when we left there going somewhere else. But we were laughing to say, are we going to find George tonight? Is George in the neighborhood tonight being neighborhood watch? But as we get to about the spot that George found us the last time, I hear my name again, LaRahnaTalk. And I know exactly who it is when I hear the LaRahnaTalk. I look up and it's the maestro, Eduardo Segovia, one of my friends, one of the artist masters here, ceramicist and painter. And he too was coming to the art show because he lives in the neighborhood. He and his wife were walking over. And at the edge of the street, the hugs from him and his wife. How are you doing? Good to see you. And to just be able to share with people that remember your name, people that reach out and connect with you in ways that are just sincere. There's no reason, there's no angle, there's no motive, there's nothing in it for them. It's just sharing those opportunities in life, those points of connection. And so we hugged and we looked at art together. And we, as we finished looking, the band was getting ready to strike up. And so we went back and reclaimed our seats so we can get our churros, our last top of the evening. And listen to the music, and that for me fills my tank, you know. Um, the messages I give to them are messages for me too. Me too. It takes energy to hold space for healing, for deep healing, the deep energy that's going through the lives of the ladies here. And so I too have to be mindful of making sure that my tank is sufficiently full so that I can give to the ladies, and be able to hold this space, this healing space for them. So we did that, and then we called for our car. We couldn't, we messaged George, but he didn't respond quick enough. And I said I didn't want to wait. And then my car service, they were running slow. And I said, I don't want to wait. I'm just going to call a regular taxi. So we did. And within 3 minutes, our taxi was there. We thought he was coming to pick us up in one spot. He ended up picking us up at the corner. So Danielle and I pretended like we were running to the corner. So it made it look like we were making an effort to hurry up. We weren't really running. But we got home, and she came in and kept going onto her spot, and I kept going onto my spot, my pajamas. And I feel like my tank was sufficiently filled. Good music, people, hugs, you know, are the things that fuel my tank. And that too is a part of this healing journey. The difference for the ladies coming on the work exchange is they're responsible for their own excursioning. That's a responsibility I didn't take on. I didn't agree to take on in the work exchange. That's part of what they agree to take on themselves. Do the things you need to do to fuel your tank so you can do this work. Our agreement is about doing the work of healing. And so they are doing that. I think they've got some activities planned today. Toquilla straw hats, aka Panama hats that are not from Panama. Panama hats are actually originate in Ecuador. People call them Panama hats still, but that is still a huge cottage industry here in Ecuador. The Toquilla straw hats and the Hormero Ortega is one of the generational players in this game of hats. And there's a museum and a showroom where they can go and make those purchases at Ecuador prices instead of Hermes prices, which is where some of their hats are at. So I tell people, if you come in here and hats interest you, get it before you leave. Because when you leave out of Ecuador, the price exponentially increases. I strongly suggested that they experience some of the Ecuador chocolate because when you leave Ecuador, the price exponentially increases. And you're here this close. They've been seeing some of the flowers and taking advantage of some of the flowers that also are wonderful here in Ecuador, world-class roses. And for a couple dollars, you too can be decked down in roses here, which is a joy for me. But they're doing the work. They're doing the work. So that's kind of where I'm at today. We're still in step 4B. We are counting the cost of our choices, of our responses. We're looking at how we survived and how those things align with our values. Good morning, Miss B. They're talking about the alignment of their behaviors, looking in the mirror. And so we're still doing the work. We get to the midpoint, and it seems like you should be, coming down the hill. Not really. We start coming down the hill at step 5A. 5B is where we come down the hill and we get to the resolution. But until then, we are finding facts. We are still pulling facts out. Because how do you analyze the situations in your life and you don't have all the facts on the table? And so that's where we are in step 5B. Step 4B. And we'll be here until we're done. Probably the next couple of days as they work through those steps. We're in the final week of the intensive. And so they both have said, "Ooh, like I gotta go home. I gotta go home." I said, "Yeah, you're gonna be in shock. There's not gonna be $3 lunches, There's not gonna be 25-cent ice cream cones when you get home. But they will go home changed. They will go home lighter. They will go home with more clarity, the clarity that they say they're finding. And so I am grateful for that. Let me share details. I'm supposed to use this time to do, there's no should, but I said I'm going to use this time to make sure that I talk about some of the other programs and activities that are available for individuals that want to come to Cuenca. The Healing Vacation Retreat is a week-long retreat. Do you have to go home? No, you don't have to go home, but if you're going to stay long-term, you got to get one of those visas. But Ecuador is easy, Ms. B. You can stay in Ecuador 6 months with just an extension of your visa, which means just paying some money after your 90 days. So it's a place that you really can come and get equipped to figure out where you want to be in life, to get off the hamster wheel. It's a very affordable place. Good segue into next year's initiatives as this season of Heal Together drums to an end. We're 7 days from the end of this season, this year-long season of focusing on the Gangsta Grannies, older women committed to healing. The work will continue. It'll continue in who knows what kind of ways. If you are an older woman and want to be a Gangsta Granny, commit to healing, commit to deeper healing. The ways that you can participate. The Healing Vacation Retreat is a 1-week version of this. It's not nearly as intensive, doesn't require as much time commitment, includes really cool excursions to help support you. The month-long healing intensive is intense. You got to be committed to doing the work because it's hard work. And there's no magic pill. You got to go through it. You got to sit with the uncomfortable emotions. And so it really is for those who want to deepen a healing commitment, a healing journey, but that you've already made a commitment to deep healing. You've already made a commitment to the uncomfortable. The next year's initiative is the Umbrella House program. It's a program that I've run 3 years in the United States as a pilot program of pairing housing and the healing, the ongoing support services of the healing work. And this coming season, that will be one of the programs that we will focus on, that and the Healers Who Heal program, those who feel called or who are currently working in the healing space in whatever capacity of healing that you are, that are looking for additional support and tool equipping. Starts with personal healing. All of those are available. Our internships, our fellowships, some of the longer term commitments, but the Umbrella House really offers you an entry path to a healing lifestyle. You start that with either the 1-week vacation retreat or the month-long intensive, and then that allows you as an alumni of that training program to come and be a part of residency in our co-housing spaces. It's at a very affordable rate. The information's online, but when I looked at it yesterday, I realized there's some technical glitches in the text part of it. If you go to Global Underground Railroad or nowastedtime.com and you click on the link for Umbrella House, don't send me a message. I already know it's messed up, and I'm trying to figure out how to fix it. The PDF imagery that it clicks over to that gives you an overview, kind of a welcome to that program, has some glitches in the amounts. I think the current monthly amount is $516. That's housing and utilities and internet and housekeeping. That gives people the opportunity to plan for a 1 month, 3 month, 6 months, or 12 months for those that are looking to transition here. And it provides really an affordable way to do the healing, have the healing support services. One of the challenges is, I got to survive. I got to put a roof over my head and food on the table. I can't afford financially or energetically to do healing. And so what happens if we can help you lighten the load for things like your healing and your roof over your head and be able to pair that with the support? And we showed that was a better way. The pilot program that we did domestically showed that is a better way. And so we're offering, this year's initiative will be offering that program here in Cuenca, Ecuador. It requires a minimum of the Healing Vacation Retreat as far as training. This is a place that we want to make safe for those who are committed to healing. And if you aren't doing healing, then you become the unsafe part of community. And that's real. That's a non-negotiable. If you're not interested in healing, this is not an affordable housing program, even though the housing is affordable. This is a place for people who really want to heal. And so if that's a connection, the opportunities for the Healing Vacation Retreats, there's some opportunities from now to the end of the year. The Healing Vacation Retreat opportunities are available from the 1st of September through, I think the last date that I can schedule it in would be the 7th of October. And then we'll have availability after the 1st of December. For those interested in doing the Healing Vacation Retreat, doing the month-long intensive, the dates that I have available that we can calendar it in for this year would be the 1st of September and the 1st of September, the 15th of September, the 1st through the 15th of September, with the 15th of September being the last entrance date. And then again, the 1st of December. We've got some commitments in between that include the Soul Safari commitment for those that may want to do the Healing Vacation Retreat and want to do it in Kenya. The Soul Safari is going to be November 6th through the 13th. It's the same retreat. Excursions are going to be different. There's going to be some additional elements because we've got some additional collaborators that'll be bringing dance and somatic healing to that experience as well. We'll also be doing it with a cohort of African leaders from Uganda, Rwanda, Tanzania, and Kenya. And so it'll be an exciting time. Doesn't cost any different. Costs the same whether you come do it in Cuenca or do it in Kenya. But we're encouraging individuals that may want to deepen their own healing journey to commit, invest in themselves, invest in their own healing, and choose to do it together. There's more information on the websites. Miss B, you're thinking and planning for a 30-day healing sabbatical? Do it. Reach out to some of the ladies that have been. Reach out to some of the Gangsta Grannies. Ask them about their experience. I'm sure they'll share. Go check out their social media where they're talking about it. That's part of their work exchanges about sharing their journey. But reach out to them. Ask them about it. Part of the conversation yesterday was saying, I didn't realize how much energy this was going to take. I didn't realize how much energy healing was going to actually take. And part of that is about coming away, taking a month to say, I'm going to invest in me and shutting off as much of life as you can. One of our ladies is still working and she's having to juggle that energy need with the work that we're doing. It's possible, but this is about shutting off as much of life so that you can invest your energy in yourself. If you aren't willing to invest in your healing, don't ask me to. I'm serious about that. Don't ask me to invest in your healing if you're not willing to invest in your healing. Time, energy, some resources. This has to be something you want to do. And being able to invest in you, like you've invested probably in others in your life, is a part of that healing. Am I willing to invest in me like I would be willing to invest in others that I love? If the answer is no, then it's checking that. Then you definitely may benefit from this work. But it's how do I invest in me? If I'm my first priority, if I really mean that, if I really mean that I should be responsible for my well-being, does it show up in my life in that way? And so there's lots of opportunities. We've got some participants that are starting one of our internship programs that really goes into leadership training. Stop putting it off, Miss B. What you putting it off for? What you waiting on? That's a real question. What are you waiting on? You are worthy of the investment. And if you look at how much you've invested in other people, are you giving yourself that kind of investment? The Christian scriptures say you're supposed to love others as you love yourself, which means you got to learn how to love you first. Because if not, you're loving people with strings attached. And so this is really about just being honest. It's really getting honest with our own life to say, wait a minute, I say I'm important. Does it look like that? Am I not worthy of lightness? Am I not worthy of letting go of some of these things that I see affecting my life? If you wake up today and you think about what you really want to be doing today and you aren't getting ready to do that thing that you think or believe you really want to do, what's wrong? Why not? What are you waiting for? My dad, this is a dad story. I guess I'll end on this dad story because if not, I'll be rambling to myself, Miss B, or whoever may be listening to this at whatever time they may get this video. But my dad, in the last 3-4 months of his life, was dying of terminal cancer, inoperable cancer. And he and I spent a lot of that time together right up until the last breath that he took. And on one of those days, my dad asked me a question that really, really, really sunk in. It sunk in. It was the right tidbit of wisdom at just the right time in my life. He said, if you could wake up tomorrow, resources are going to be provided. It's going to be taken care of. And you could do exactly what you felt called to do. What would that be? And I wrestled with that. He wasn't budging though. Like I'm waiting on an answer. I got time with these last little bits of breath I got time to wait. But don't make it too long because I ain't got much time. The reality was my dad didn't have more than 2 weeks. He didn't have more than 12 days on the day that we had that conversation. And I hem-hawed about that. Well, go on vacation. Yeah, when you got done with that, what would you really do? The thing that you're passionate about. And I began to finally, once I got over all those superficial things that I do, I really began telling him about the vision of my work, this passion work. Part of the International Welcome Center is part of that passion work that I was involved in the earlier stages. And I began telling him about this and this passion and this vision that I felt was in me, this life assignment that, God or the universe has implanted in me, in my DNA. And he says, why aren't you doing that? Why aren't you going to get up tomorrow and do that? The reality was, no matter what excuse I gave, it all boiled down to fear, insecurities, guilt. The figs that the Gangsta Grannies talk about, fear. Because insecurity is fear. I'm afraid I'm not worthy. I'm afraid I'm not enough. I'm not good enough. I'm not whatever. I don't have enough. I don't have enough resources. The universe won't provide. And I realized that you have to lose those fears first. You don't have to, but if you do, if you address and heal those fears first, and you go back to that question, why aren't you doing it? The only thing that stands in your way at that point is choice. Would have stopped fearing a lot of things: lack, competency, worthiness, and started realizing if you are not operating in those fears, what would you do? And I started doing that stuff while I was healing those fears. And I remember the day that I woke up here in Cuenca, Ecuador, and I was sitting. I moved my furniture around every so often, but I was sitting looking out my front window at the park. And I remember asking myself that question: what would your dad say? He'd say, what would you do if you could be doing anything? And I sat there and I cried because I said, I'd be doing just this. I'd be doing what I'm doing. And that's the freedom. Do I have the freedom in life to do that? But I might not be able to afford it. Change your location. I bet you can. I want to own my time, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. I want to own that. I want to be able to do exactly what I feel called to do, exactly what I feel passionate about doing. And I want to do it and not be homeless. Like, for real. Change your location. You can do it now. I was 49 years old. What do you mean I can do it now? I got to do this hustle and grind forever, forever and ever. I'm exhausted. Change your location. And part of that freedom, seeking greater freedom. What would you be doing? Healing, so that my life can be more full of my joys and my passion, my purpose even. What would you be doing to do that? Bringing older women down here, doing healing retreats, sharing these tools that have become my life work with others who may also want freedom in their own kind of way, not LaRahna kind of freedom. I don't suggest that for anybody. My kind of freedom may not work for you, but your kind of freedom, and assisting them. I want to be able to have time to do that and be balanced with taking care of me at the same time. It required me dealing with those fears first, because when I dealt with those fears, then the only question I had to ask was, do you want to? Are you going to? What would you be doing if you could get up and truly live the life that you want to be living, the life that feels true, the life that feels honest? The life for me that feels true and honest is I want to do as much of retirement in flip-flops and a sarong. And I want to do a whole lot of it at my house when I'm not out gallivanting and playing and traveling and eating good food and listening to live jazz with a side of bossa nova worked into it. But it was my fears. It was my insecurities. It was the guilt trip of thinking, the guilt of even feeling worthy to have a life that felt good. But the world is chaotic. I do crisis preparation. That's part of this work. How do we manage? How do we survive the social paradigm collapse that is unfolding in real time right now? That's been my work. I deal with really, really heavy stuff. I watch to see the stuff that's happening. How bad is society going to get before we change? But that's out there. Peace is here. Joy is here. Joy is in my world, it's in the people that are a part of my life. You ain't got no family here. Yes, I do. I remind folks, you got any family here? Yeah, you. You, my Ecuadorian family. You don't have any friends there. I do now. I didn't when I got here, but I do now. Actually, I did before I got here because I made some friends before I came. But I got friends now. I got old men that call my name out loudly in the street and boldly stretch their arms out to hug me in the street. My mother used to say, "You always got some senior citizen friends." Sure do, sure do, sure do. My senior citizens know what's happening around town and keep me informed. Sure do. I find people that share the passions that I do. They doing pottery, they doing art, they painting, they're writing books at 91 years old. They're doing the things that are important to them or that feel like joy for them. But I had to fix my fears. And so if my dad were to ask me that question today, my dad's been gone 18 years. It was 18 years ago that he asked me that question, right before Father's Day, 2007. What would you be doing if you could be doing anything in the whole wide world? This week, I'd be in Ecuador supporting older women committed to healing. On other days, I'd be somewhere supporting anyone committed to deeper healing. In November, I'm going to be in Kenya, Kitale, Kenya, supporting leaders from the regions surrounding Kenya who also feel that healing is important to the paradigm shift that's happening on that continent and in their lives specifically. So, yeah, heal, don't heal, it's your choice, but I strongly encourage healing. Danielle's post yesterday said 10 out of 10, I strongly suggest healing. I strongly suggest getting some clarity and some freedom in your life. Like I'm rooting for team healing. And so I too, 10 out of 10, healing has freed me from the life I was living. That's real. When I look at my trauma profile, I'm grateful because I know where I could be. I know where I was. 20s, 30s, 40s. I knew where I was. Life was not free. And life is freer, and I'm looking for all the other avenues of freedom that I can incorporate into my life. So, yeah, that's where I'm at. That's what I'm sharing. Connect. You can reach out at friends at nowastedtime.com. You can find me on social media. Trust me, there are not many LaRahna Hugheses around. I'm easy to find. I think my Instagram is Sustainable LaRahna. My Facebook is LaRahna Hughes. You found me on YouTube. The websites are posted. If you'd like to connect with the ladies, GangstaGranniesGlobal.com. You can find their social media, both the ladies that are here now and the ladies that came in the January cohort. Looks like I'm on a theater stage that's blacked out. The sun is coming in the front window now. Let me see. I can't make it a whole lot better, but I can move so that sun not shining in my face like a spotlight. Where else can you reach out? No Wasted Time is the collaborative page that'll show you lots of the other links. Women Heal Together, the Gangsta Grannies initiative, the Global Underground Railroad is the website for the International Welcome Center, globalundergroundrailroad.com. Reach out, connect, figure it out. My link tree is somewhere on some of those pages. probably on my like Instagram header or Facebook header. It's got my WhatsApp number. Reach out. Reach out if you're looking for healing. You can go online. You can buy the book. It's $30. You can buy it digitally, so you can get it right now. You can go on Amazon and they'll get you a printed copy within a couple of days. I've put some free videos online. You can find the links under free resources on the nowastedtime.com page that'll walk you through the steps. Get started. What's stopping you? Get started. Get started. Make that investment in yourself. If you don't have $30, go online. The videos are there. Get you a notebook or a piece of paper and start doing the steps. There's 8 or 9 different videos that are various times when I've been teaching the tools. Go there. It's free. We're not hoarding healing. We're not hoarding healing. You got to have a passport and a few dollars if you're going to come to Ecuador, but we're not trying to hoard healing. There's something flying around here. So go online. The tools are there. They're free. They're free. I had to make a decision. How do you offer healing? And, got price tags. Nope, it's available for free. If you need a book, if you need it more structured, you got to have $30. You got to have $30. Buy it online. You can just click the button and it does it automatically. I like things like that. You just push the button and it gives you the digital version. You can print it out on your own. You can read it on your devices. You can get the printed copy. You can schedule a time to come down. If you come into Ecuador anyway, we do offer limited unhosted stays. You can stay for $250 a week, but only 4 weeks. That's our limit. That's non-negotiable. You can come for a short time, but if you're not doing the healing, we love you, but short term, short term. But it is a way to come if you want to explore Cuenca. Cuenca is a wonderful city. The cost of living is extremely, unbelievably low. We went and I ordered 6 different tapas last night, 2 Americanas coffee, and the fee for the musicians was $3.50. My total bill was like $26. Danielle, I think, had 1 beverage, and I don't know how many tapas she had, 5 or 4, 5, 4 or 5, 5 maybe, 4. I don't know. And I think her bill was $18. At a really high-end farm-to-table restaurant. I ran a farm-to-table restaurant, so I know the value that I was getting. I know what I would have charged, and folk would have had to break more than a $20 bill to get out of my restaurant with tapas and live music and, just all of that. So, yeah, it takes a little bit, but it's not that expensive. It's a very affordable cost of living. So if you're exploring living out of the country, if you're exploring expanding your freedom in that way and want to come for a short time and just stay with us, we do have that available when there's space available. So there's a bunch of options. Reach out, but heal. Whatever you're doing, heal. Commit to healing. Commit to healing. That's all I got today. This is going into a ramble. Let me see. Let me check the comments. Serious about this. Been putting this off too long. Stop putting it off, Miss B. What you waiting on? What you waiting on? For real. For real. What you waiting on? That's some of the baggage I need to unpack and purge. Erica Badu been telling us, unpack them bags. they gonna make your back hurt. Let it go. Let it go. Friends and family to be made in Ecuador and around the world. Yeah, there really is. There really is. I have a cohort of South Korean young men that we follow each other now on Instagram because of an experience traveling the world. I stayed at a South Korean hostel in Paris and shared my birthday with these young guys that are traveling the world, and now they're my friends. One of them's a model, the others are all kinds of things, but they're travelers, and they're my family. Sometimes they're family for a short time. I'm settled here. I've been here almost 3 years in Cuenca. So these are my regular family, my neighbors, my friends, people that I can call on when I have need and who show up. And for that, I'm grateful. So, yeah, reach out. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for letting me ramble. Gangsta Grannies Global, check them out. Go support them in their healing journey. Let them know that you're supporting their healing journey. Let them know they need encouragement. They need encouragement. Give them that little energy. Send them some positive energy in the air. Send them some love, but go to their social media. Let them know that you're cheerleading for them as they do that work. You'll respond to your initial email. Perfect. Reach out, Miss B. Reach out. I'm eager to support however I can the healing journey of others. Transformation gives me joy, and seeing transformation in others gives me joy. So, thanks for letting me share. We are winding it down for the next week. They will finish up on the 15th. The first one flies out, leaves out on the 15th, and we're going to wrap this up before they go. So that's it. Have a great day. Live life fully today. Bye.